Hey, welcome back to Power by 8 Racing YouTube channel. I know it has been a very long time since I have made a video, and while today it's not going to be a video about the car, I do still have it. It's still here. I just have been on a very large project at the house that I haven't really had any time, and with summer here in Florida, it's very hot to race anyway, so I decided I was going to take the beginning of this season off and get a project done at the house. So this is where I've been. I've been in the middle of this half-acre lot, part of our property that is going to be built for my wife's riding arena. And that's what's been taking all my time, and that's why I haven't posted any videos. But they're coming back. I'm on the last stretch of this, but that's not why we're here. So let's get back in the shop.
Powered by Ocho.
What I am going to do today and for the next few days or a week or so is upgrade my daughter's Power Wheels. So we got a Gravedigger here, and if you know anything about Power Wheels, then you know Gravedigger is built on a sort of metal tube frame, and so it makes it easier to mess with. Well, I took her to her first little, what do you want to call it, event at a local go-kart track, and they call it Toddler Dega. They just go around and have a good time, and the kids don't, it's not a competition, but it is for me, right? Anyways, our fast car that has upgraded motors broke a gearbox. And so it wasn't the fastest car there. So she drove Gravedigger around and it was a good time. And again, she's 4. She has no idea what's going on. But I was disappointed in myself, and I'm not gonna let that ever happen again with those plastic gearboxes with upgraded motors. So I decided I am gonna go wild with this Gravedigger, and I'm gonna give it a live axle. I'm gonna put it gear driven. I'm gonna give it a rack and pinion. I'm going to change out the springs. I'm going to put a nice little screen on it. And yeah, it should be a pretty good little thing. So I've been scouring all the go-kart web pages and electric scooter pages and gathering up all kinds of parts. And most of them are here. I'm still waiting for a few items, but I can get started now with what I have acquired. So what we're going with is obviously the speed controller, which this is rated for 45 to 60 amps, all the way from a 36 volt up to 84 volts. But we got a 48 volt motor, so that's going to be the motor that we're going to use. Obviously it's gear driven. I'm going to swap this out because that's for a smaller chain. These are all just the switches. I was just wiring it up, making sure I understood the systems. It's all pretty much ready to go. It's got your standard forward and backwards, three different speeds, a key. She said she wanted a key, so I made sure it has a key. It's got a potentiometer style pedal, so it's, you know, faster or slower depending on how much pressure she gives it. And that's that. And then it's got this, like, you know, it probably does like a speed or RPM and temperature, or not temperature, but voltage. The voltage that's left in the car and whatnot. Getting some hubs. These are for the front. These are for the axle in the rear. This is the rack and pinion system. Still waiting for the steering shaft and the universal joint for that, but we can get that in there because I know where it needs to go. Obviously, it needed a badass steering wheel. And, oh, there's the bearings, some hangers for the bearings. Axles on the floor. But one of the coolest things is, look at that. I got some BKT tires. So obviously these are rubber tires. I've got some wheels that will paint black and put the green stripe around it. And if you know anything about BKT, that's the same tires they use on all the monster trucks, or most of them anyways. And especially Gravedigger has BKT tires. And usually it'll say, you know, big white letters BKT. So we'll probably get like a tire pen and paint BKT on those and let it shred. But right now I got to get that thing apart. I have a basic idea in my head on what I need to do. Obviously, I've got the parts for it, so I've already been thinking about it for a little bit. Now I just got to get it apart and just start cutting things up and welding on it. And hopefully my plan today is to maybe get the axles on, the rear axle on, and or maybe the rack and pinion, at least in the area that it needs to be, which is going to be cutting up some metal. And same with the axle. I'll just put these hangers somewhere in the back and make it easy for me. So from there, let me just clear off this table and get that thing coming apart. All right, let's get started. All right, so what I'm seeing is that the motor is going to sit here. I got to cut these bars off. These bars won't be here. The axle's going to sit here like this with these axle hangers, however they need to be. We'll get them oriented right. And then these have to come off because the big sprocket's going to be here. And then I plan on using a disc brake from like a bicycle or something, and that will go on the other side of the axle along this path. So there'll be a disc here, and then that's how it will go and stop. All right, let me get these off and just get this frame going. All right, so motor is going to go this way. Let me think. It spins this way. So yeah, motor's going to go this way. Somewhere about here. Has to be there because we need to fit another disc here. So we need to decide is the distance of our biggest sprocket of the rear is going to be, so this is our biggest sprocket. This is an 84 tooth. I have a 74 tooth one also. This 84 tooth one is how big? From tooth to tooth, it is 10 inches and a quarter. So, oh well, we got to go way back here, right? So we've got tons of space. So actually, let's put the hangers on. I'm gonna put the hangers on first. Then I know where my axle's going to be. Then we'll move to the motor. Ha! Smart thinking. Got this here. And what we're going to do is put our axles here. So if I do it in the middle of this pipe, if I do it on the end, do it here, I can penetrate both sides. That might be better. But if I do it here, all right, I'll preface always the welding videos with, I am not a welder. I don't know what I'm doing. Don't take hints or tips or clues from me about this. I'm just gonna do it how I feel I need to do it. And this is like maybe 18 gauge, 16 gauge steel. So I've got the machine turned down. This is 1/4 inch. Man, it's a pretty big difference. So I think I'm gonna start welding on this, getting this hot, and then moving it over as this starts to pool. That way I'm not on the soft side as long. I think that that'll help I'm not a welder. Let's flip this over. I'm using this hole. I'm hoping that this hole was drilled exactly the same as the hole on the other side. And then my plan is to get this in alignment with the top of the other one. And then that's how I will get these so that my axle's not all wonky.
I'm not a welder.
All right, I'm happy with that. Like I said, I put some pretty big welds on this side because it's very, very thick and that's very, very thin. I don't know if it's the right thing to do. All right, before I get the final welds, I want to be able to make sure everything's going to work. This is a 1-inch axle, the 1/4-inch keyway. Let's get this on where it needs to be. So this is a split, but we can just put this on here for now. Tighten that guy down. So we will slide this over like that. Plan on putting these on the outside of the hanger. From about center. Yeah, we're spot on. That I'm not going to complain about that. I want to get these welded on, and then we'll finish the welds on this. I don't want to burn myself, basically. But yeah, so let's do that. We'll figure out where the motor placement needs to be. We will throw the spindle on here just to get an idea of where the motor needs to be, and we will go from there. Like I said, I'm going to use some angle iron. I'm going to cut this down. Don't make fun of me. I bought this from Home Depot. I didn't get to the metal shop to get it. But I'm going to lay this across. Pretty basic idea, right? You just make 2 shelves, and that's how we will make our. And I'm just going to eyeball this. I'm not even going to measure it. I'm just going to mark it with a pen that I don't have. Now you can see kind of what's going on here. These will go like this. And all right, so these are going to go in here like this. That will make that shelf for the motor, and then these will come on here like this. What I'm going to do first, I'm going to get this back one set where I want it, because I can get a 90 off of that easy. And then once I get a 90 off of this one easy, then I can move on to that one. And that'll help it from coming in. So, but what I want to do is just kind of get this where it needs to be. I think that'll be good. Let me look at the, whoops. Let me look at this frame. See if that's going to be a hindrance for anything. Just want to mock it up a little bit. Doesn't have to be perfect. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put this back together, and then I'll bring this over to the welding table and just tack it. That's going to be my best bet. Yep. I got it all welded up. I added some gussets to the backside here, so I do have some more support, so I don't have to worry about these folding in or anything like that when she's trying to drift this thing with these big mutters on it. Now let's move on to getting this motor done. Let's get, I think I'm going to try to get the chain just perfectly centered here, and then I just need to make sure that I have enough room left here for the brake. But now that I'm thinking about it, if I have the brake and I put it in the middle of the car, and she's going to pull it middle of the car, this actually needs to be this direction. That way I can leave space for the brake on the right side. I think it would be better. Then I don't have to worry about crossing cables over or anything like that. I can run the brake straight down the side. So that's what I'm just gonna have to do that. I'll put this off to the side here like that. And that's how I'll probably run this now that I'm thinking about it. Yeah, that's what I'll do. All right, so let's get the motor on and wrap this video up for you guys. I'm gonna put it on the right side, or left side, my right looking at it, but it's gonna be on the left side underneath driver's seat. And that's because the brake is gonna come down the right side of the car. Right in the middle of the body, there is a tunnel where all the electronics pass through right now. And I think it'll be a perfect placement of where the brake cables and things like that need to go. And so there's more space here where that tunnel is, and then the brake can be here. So we're gonna mount this here, and it'll work out perfectly. So what we wanna do, we'll just make sure this is nice and squared up, and well, the best that we can. Actually, I gotta cut these tubes so I can fit the sprocket on before I can put the axle on. So let me get my grinder out. This is pretty much set. It's not going anywhere anymore. It's all cooled off and whatnot. And so let me get my grinding wheel, and we'll cut these off here, there, blah, there, there. All right, so you can see we got the sprocket on, we've got the bearings that are hung, don't look at the welds, motors mounted, got that, and it's gonna be in line with each other, just have to get the chain. My chain breaker isn't here, I don't know where it is. Anyways, so that's pretty much done. So we'll end it here, but as you can see, this is gonna be an awesome project. I know it's not the race car, but it is racing, and it's for my daughter, who is the Ocho girl at the very beginning. So anyways, thanks for watching. Stay tuned for some more, and we will have some car stuff coming up in the very near future as well. See you next time.
Powered by Ocho.